She was young, trusted, and loved by her family, but behind closed doors, something went terribly wrong. What police uncovered inside this home shocked even experienced investigators. This is not just a murder case, it's a story of betrayal, silence, and unanswered questions. Stay with me till the end, and don't forget to subscribe, because stories like this deserve to be remembered. Early in the morning of February 20th, 2025, 5-year-old Jay Ann Brock woke to the sound of an alarm coming from her parents' bedroom. Confused and frightened, she walked into the room and saw both of her parents lying still in bed. She thought they were asleep when she reached out and touched her mother's hand. It felt cold. Terrified, the little girl ran to wake her older sister, Sarah Grace Patrick. Realizing something was seriously wrong, Sarah placed a 911 call at approximately 4 a.m., reporting that their parents were unresponsive. Help was on the way, but the tragedy had already unfolded. James Brock and Kristen Brock were known in their community as devoted parents focused on raising their 2 daughters in a stable home. Friends and neighbors described the family as private but involved, often keeping to themselves while maintaining close ties with relatives and local circles. James had been dealing with serious heart-related health issues, a condition that required ongoing medical attention and added pressure to daily family life. Despite these challenges, the household was viewed as functioning and supportive. Kristen was seen as a caring and attentive mother, deeply involved in her children's routines and well-being. Those who knew her described her as organized, protective, and committed to maintaining structure at home. From the outside, there were no obvious signs of violence or instability. The Brock residence appeared calm, orderly, and familiar, exactly the kind of place where children were expected to feel safe. The family participated in normal routines, school mornings, household responsibilities, and quiet evenings. Sarah Grace Patrick was a 16-year-old teenager from Carrollton, Georgia, whose life gained national attention under tragic and shocking circumstances. Known in her community as a regular student, she also maintained an active presence on social media, especially on TikTok, where she posted emotional videos and personal reflections in the weeks after her parents' deaths. In many of these posts, she appeared distraught, sharing grief, requesting prayers, and describing her loss in deeply emotional terms. Investigators later noted that some of her online content and interactions with true crime influencers, including messages asking others to search up the Brock case, added complexity to an already disturbing story. What drew particular attention was not just her youthful online expression but the timing and tone of these posts, made in the period between the discovery of her mother and stepfather's bodies and her own eventual arrest months later. Law enforcement reviewed digital evidence alongside physical evidence in their ongoing investigation, recognizing that her social media footprint became part of the broader timeline that would culminate in serious charges. Georgia, after a 911 call reporting unresponsive adults inside. When officers entered the residence, they discovered 41-year-old Kristen Brock and 45-year-old James Brock lying in their bed, both deceased from apparent gunshot wounds. Their bodies were found together and there were no immediate signs of forced entry, although one exterior door was later noted as being slightly ajar, suggesting the scene may have been disturbed after the incident. The couple's youngest daughter, just 5 or 6 years old, was the one who first located their bodies and alerted her older sister, who placed the 911 call. Authorities confirmed the scene as a double homicide early in the investigation. Investigators processed the area thoroughly, documenting the bed and surrounding space where the victims were found and beginning interviews, forensic collection, and neighborhood canvassing. Law enforcement also noted that nothing was reported missing from the home, focusing suspicion inward rather than an outside intruder. After the deaths of her parents, Sarah Grace Patrick maintained an active presence on TikTok, a fact that later drew scrutiny from both investigators and the public. In the weeks following the tragic discovery, posts appearing to come from her account showed emotional and reflective content about her mother and stepfather, including captions like, "If you asked me about my mom and stepdad, I'd say I miss them so much," and descriptions of her life feeling like a horror movie that never ends. These videos were posted even though she was the one who made the 911 call reporting the bodies, a timing that raised questions among law enforcement and online. Law enforcement quickly secured the Brock residence and began a detailed investigation into the deaths of Kristen and James Brock. Deputies documented the scene thoroughly, noting the location of the bodies, condition of the room, and lack of forced entry, which immediately suggested the possibility of someone inside the home being involved. Investigators collected physical evidence, including fingerprints, digital devices, and forensic samples. While canvassing the neighborhood for potential witnesses, the focus soon included the children, particularly Sarah Grace Patrick, as authorities sought to reconstruct the timeline of events. Digital evidence from social media became a key component, with TikTok posts, messages, and interactions analyzed for clues about motives and emotional state. Law enforcement also examined communications between Sarah and external contacts, including influencers she reportedly reached out to regarding the case. Interviews with neighbors, friends, and family members helped piece together daily routines and unusual behavior leading up to the incident. Forensic results combined with witness statements and digital activity gave authorities a clearer understanding of the crime, ultimately guiding prosecutors in preparing charges and establishing a timeline for the events inside the home. On July 7, 2025, authorities arrested 16-year-old Sarah Grace Patrick in connection with the deaths of her parents, Kristen and James Brock. Despite her age, prosecutors announced she would face charges as an adult due to the severity of the allegations. Sarah was taken into custody without incident and formally booked on murder-related charges. The arrest followed months of investigation, including forensic analysis, interviews, and review of digital evidence. News of her arrest shocked the community and drew national attention, turning a tragic family story into a high-profile criminal case. The legal process officially began, setting the stage for court proceedings. If convicted of the double homicide, Sarah Grace Patrick, despite being 16 at the time, could face adult sentencing under Georgia law. She is officially charged with murder and must face the legal process in court. Investigators considered several possible motives in the deaths of Kristen and James Brock, while authorities have not publicly confirmed a definitive reason. Reports indicate that familial tension and emotional struggles may have played a role. Sarah Grace Patrick, 16 at the time, reportedly expressed frustration and anger in private and through social media posts, some of which showed increasing emotional distress. Digital interactions, including messages to influencers about the Brock family case, raised questions about her mindset leading up to the incident. Law enforcement examined potential financial stress, household conflicts, and psychological factors that could have contributed to her behavior. The combination of personal grievances, emotional volatility, and opportunity inside the home created a focus for investigators on possible premeditation. Although motive cannot be conclusively determined publicly, these factors were key to understanding the context of the crime and guiding prosecutors in preparing charges for trial. The tragic case of Sarah Grace Patrick and the deaths of Kristen and James Brock shocked not only Carroll County but viewers across the nation. What began as a quiet family mourning ended in a horrifying discovery that left a community reeling and a young child traumatized for life. Investigators, courts, and the public continue to seek answers as the legal process unfolds, and while justice is the ultimate goal, the emotional scars remain. This case serves as a stark reminder of the importance of recognizing warning signs, understanding emotional and behavioral changes, and addressing conflicts before they escalate. As we follow this story, it is vital to remember the victims and the surviving child whose life was forever altered. If this story impacted you, subscribe for more true crime coverage, like the video, and comment below your thoughts. Sharing these stories keeps awareness alive and honors the victim's memory.